Hey everybody, Todd Rhoades from Chemistry Staffing here. Today is Wednesday, April 1st, and I wanted to give you a little update today. Started a daily update yesterday, and enough going on today, I thought I'd do another one today. So these are just some random thoughts, getting some stuff out of my head. If you're like me, as a church leader, your mind is just kind of swirling with all these different thoughts and thinking about what is and what it's going to be like and all of that kind of thing. So that's just a little outlet for me to kind of share with some of you guys and gals and hear kind of what you're thinking as well. I'd love to hear that. One thing, I shared something yesterday, but again, I want to share kind of two news stories that are kind of at different ends of the spectrum, both of which are just kind of driving me kind of batty. The first is out of Pennsylvania, where there's an evangelist, Jonathan Shuttlesworth, who is telling everyone that will listen that he's going to do a huge Easter Blowout Service, and he promises that it's going to be Woodstock-like. There's going to be, thousands and thousands of people all coming to this Easter Blowout Service. To which I just shake my head and honestly think, what are you thinking? This just does not seem to be a responsible reaction. There are other ways to do this. I think there are some in Christian circles that are going to make this really political. I think Liberty is doing that right now with this being a church-state kind of an issue. This type of thing, the pastor in Florida we talked about yesterday that was arrested. I don't know that right now is the time to do make the political argument. Let's get this thing taken care of, and that's my thinking right now anyway. But anyway, that's one side of the spectrum is, hey man, we're all in, we're going to do an Easter service, and we're going to have thousands of people all not practicing social distancing. The other extreme, I think, is what the mayor of New York City, Bill de Blasio, said yesterday. Essentially, he's trying to get everyone not to do the social distancing, and he pretty much says, if you go to your synagogue, if you go to your church, and this is his quote, if you attempt to hold services after being told so often not to, he said, our enforcement agents will have no choice but to shut down those services. Okay, so he's telling all the pastors, all the rabbis in New York, if you have a service, we're going to come and we're going to shut you down. Okay, but, and I'm even, all right, so far so good. But then he says, we will take additional action up to the point of fines and potentially closing the building permanently. So now I think Mayor de Blasio knows that he cannot shut down church services and church buildings indefinitely or forever. So I think you've got, on the one side, you've got people that are kind of saying, heck no, we're going to do it. And you've got people way on the other side saying, if you do it, I'll shut you down for good. Neither one of those are really extremely helpful, in my opinion, right now. So I think what we need to do is we need to be responsible as church leaders in our community. We need to listen to what our government officials are telling us to do when it comes to social distancing, and just be smart. There are ways that we can connect with people. They're different. They're harder, particularly for some of us. But that doesn't mean that it can't be done and that we should not be doing those things to stay connected to our church and our community, and even use this as kind of an unprecedented time to see some spiritual growth and some spiritual life change in people. So I'm optimistic in that point, but man, the two sides just really kind of drive me crazy. Here's my main thought today. This was something I've been thinking about and would love to get your thought on it. I think that there's really two things that we as church leaders should be watching, since all of us are going to be kind of out of it for the next 30 days anyway, right? The next 3 or 4 Sundays, Easter's kind of gone. Two things that I think we're going to have to watch just to kind of see what happens here, because this is we've never been here before. Number one is watch those online stream counts. If you're live streaming, watch those. I would be really interested to know, and I would love for anybody watching this, how have your live stream numbers been the first 3 weeks? For us here in Ohio anyway, it's been about 3 weeks. And how is that going to be for the next 4 weeks? Okay, my guess is, and I hope I'm wrong, that the first couple weeks would have been really, really high. Actually, some of what I heard is that we've actually had more people join us online than what would have attended our services in person, which is awesome. But my hunch is that as the novelty kind of wears off, as people kind of go about their business, even if they're in their homes, my hunch is that some of those numbers are going to start to go down a little bit, maybe plateau, maybe continue to go down. But I'd be really interested in that. So watch the number of online people that are online to your live stream. Second thing I would be watching is watch those giving numbers. I know this isn't rocket surgery. Everybody in the world is doing that right now. My hunch is that online giving numbers are, some of the reports I've heard is that March giving was actually really good. I've heard from a couple churches that March giving was actually better than what it was a year ago. My hunch is as the economy starts to, as this kind of trickles down and people start losing their jobs, 3 million people applied for unemployment last week. As people start, as the economic reality starts to kick in, that and we're not meeting that the online giving may take a little bit of a hit too. So I think everyone's going to be watching both their live stream numbers and their online giving numbers. Here's the thing that I would love to hear some input from you guys on this, and I'll pop a link if you're on YouTube. I'll pop a link down below and on LinkedIn as well. A Pew Research study came out yesterday. Positive thing was that most people are praying. 55% of the people that they surveyed said that they have been praying for the end of this virus spread. Particularly those that pray daily. This is like their number one prayer request. But they also had a big section in that Pew Research study that asked people about their religious service and how they've been doing since this has started. So let me just read this. I don't like to read things, but it says among those who typically attend church at least monthly. So these are people that they had surveyed before the crisis hit. These are the people that they had surveyed before that said, I attend church at least monthly. Of all of those people, the share of Christians who indicate that they have replaced their in-person attendance with watching church services online or on TV tops out at 47%. And that's among evangelicals. Okay, so that's not mainline, that's not Catholic, that's evangelicals. So essentially, anyone before that was attending church one or more times a month, when they're asked now, have you replaced that that in-person gathering with a virtual gathering, a live stream, or watching something on a church service on TV, it's only 47%. Now, what I'm hearing so far from churches 3 weeks in is that live stream numbers are up, that everyone's really happy with live stream numbers. Again, I would want to watch those and I would be really interested over the next 4 weeks. Do those numbers continue to rise? If they do, man, that'd be awesome. Do they trail? Do they kind of peak and just kind of plateau, or do they start to go down? That would be something that I don't have the answer to, but I'd be really interested in hearing what you guys are experiencing. So I would love to hear from you. You can email me. You can leave a comment here, or you can email me. My email address is Todd, that's Todd, period, Rhoades, Rhoades, at chemistrystaffing.com, chemistrystaffing.com. Okay, I'll be back tomorrow with another update. Got some really interesting things I want to share with you tomorrow, but that's for another day. So we'll talk to you soon.